Save Feng, collect gun. Tell the account next to you. Let's start preparing the equipment. I want this to use the fastest speed. Put into production line. Will become our strongest defense wall. My uncle replied, I understand. Back to the side. To summon the commanding members of the military. Uncle Niu has just come to greet the young master. You're looking for us. Save the money, please sit down. In fact, this time we're calling everyone together. I just want to make it simple. About my preparation and arrangements coming up. Now we've taken the water you lost. But the Atlantic though SAO is still in the west right. It's not very strong in many places. So I'm going to send you to 4 cities. To set up a garrison. 1 is to stabilize the situation. 2 is to increase our control over the area. Like 5 said. Master wants us when to leave. Give orders at any time. Don't worry about the wind. It won't be that fast. Then I'll let you know. But I also have news. It is also time to tell everyone. According to intelligence, it's about 2 months long, 5 months long. There will be a large fleet of ships attacking us. They will even go inland. He asked the young man, can you write the number of your troops? The answer to this is not clear, but the absolute number is much higher. As we face off, the fisherman asked what you want us to do. The right stone room. I guess they're going to dock at matchmaker. So the fisherman. In the coming months, I'm going to give Hai Duong City to you. I'll train a county branch later. Just gave it to you. He replied seriously, you must be a young man. Just make a statement like that. Have to come here after school. Everyone answers and disperses. The sky was at night. The moon was twinkling in the sky. Under the moon on the street. The old man's family just left. We're talking about the last plan. Someone said, we have to separate. There's someone else, haha. This is also the end of the way. But it's unexpected. Now we're a general again. It must have never been thought of before. The cow is behind you. I'm still thinking. When he saw you like that, he turned to Han Cha. Why, the stony old man has a few things. I will make it clear to you now. Your Majesty believes us. They didn't even set up an army to overpower us. So far, let's call the master. They don't want to distance themselves from us. She's actually the lady of our house. Gratitude must be rewarded. You will not be able to love anyone. Not even a minute's thought is allowed. It must be one heart. Because the exile was lowered to protect the nation has understood. Listen to the powerful words of God. We are all in agreement, Father. The fisherman said, of course, Father's son understands. I hope you have. Do not exceed my expectations for you. Like your face says. Don't worry, we won't last forever. It's getting late. At the Imperial Palace of Trong and City. Just finished the new job. Stand up and stretch your shoulders. I is finally arranged. On the table are huge piles of documents. Keep a document in your hand. Let's talk about the Navy. If you can contact them, good. The fish do SAO contact here. Save the wind side thinking. The next morning at the port. In the river, there are countless people swimming. The people on the shore were wondering. This is the animal. A man who said he had never seen. Ra is a tribe of mermaids at the bottom of the sea. led by the mermaid general, father of the fishman, who had been rescued by the exiles before. Mermaids start turning fish tails into legs. I walked up to the Bellic bank and saw the castle I used to live in. Excited to tell General. This place is the Atlantic City. Look at the magnificent corn in front of you. The General couldn't stop admiring. Very funky. Continue the words. The Atlantic Ocean is only imagined by the word prosperity. I'll understand very quickly. Right now, the mermaids were attracted by the screams behind them. The person in front quickly stops. I'm a guard of Chengen. Tell them your identity and purpose. Then Ra the Emperor and the guards arrived. When you meet an acquaintance, you wave your hand. Long time no see. To be a little surprised. To bring the mermaids to the Emperor's court. There's a lot of surprising twists and turns. Liu Feng is already the king. Nicola said yes. A lot happened after you left. General Cao, please wait a moment. I'm going to inform the young master now. The general turned to his daughter. I said the Atlantic. The school has only been growing for a year. Convoluted answer, yes. Everyone in the castle said that. That's what he is. The general was even more surprised. Time of 1 year, have developed their fitness into a nation, SAO. This room is also great. I have come to greet you for a long time. It's been a long time, Your Majesty. Look at the person next to you who is suffering. He asked General Gao Xin if he did. The general also laughed softly. Save Your Majesty. This time I came mainly to thank you. Saved my daughter. I also heard a lot of news related to the school. I am curious to come here and hope you understand. Happy to say yes. The School of Security. We are welcome at any time. There's something I want to ask the general. The general is happy to meet you. Fong told me where I got the news. The first pirate to attack is everyone's mermaid. It seems to have something to do with the Black Death. Want to know, do you know anything about the FA country? General Cao Xin replied. We don't know much about Pro-SAO. But it can be confirmed. They came from the other end of the stormy sea. In a strange place to ask. What is that violent transformation? The general explained. It's a wild sea. It's a big wave everywhere. Dark clouds rain relentlessly. Any fleet of ships passing through a stormy sea. It will also cause great damage. Like a fish, we can help the fleet sail through the rough seas. I'm afraid that's why they attacked us. After listening to the thought, Ra is like that. The general said fortunately, they were gone. If we don't, we're afraid we'll lose sleep and food. Only pity I couldn't save my brothers who were captured. Put your hands on the table seriously. I have bad news. They will come back. The news of Liu Feng made 2 people startled. What the room says next my news. In a few months, they'll come back and dock here. Then the size of the fleet will be even larger than before. Look at the location just on the map. Surprised father this place. Ask if this place is good. The general said no. From the sea to this city. It's the domain of the ministry, that's us mermaids. If they go out into the storm, we're going to be dangerous. Think for a moment and say, that's it, General. I have a suggestion. And the general said, let's go. Point to a location on the map. Liu Feng continued, I suggest you move out of the current tribe. If needed, I'm going to plan an area in the royal firm. Let people live. All the money supplies needed before the tribe goes into orbit will be borne by me. Listen to the surprises above. The general was surprised to ask if he had been killed. Do you have any ideas? Please rest assured. I mean, you don't mean to hurt people. Of course, I have my own plans. I want to work with the mermaids. Organized a branch of the mermaid army. With the navy. To deal with pro-phase. Let me think about it, General. Then he turned to his daughter and asked her what she saw. I'm in a hurry. Father-son, you can absolutely trust the wind. Your Majesty knows this. I can make sure. Hear words of trust from your daughter. The general had to be made Your Majesty. How many people do you need? 1,000 is enough. If possible, I want to constantly rotate these 1,000 people. The food and equipment of these 1,000 people. I will be in charge. At the same time, the salary will be paid. Will have the same treatment as the Han Dynasty soldiers. The general's face was shining. He had to be saved and kept his promise. Two people shake hands deal. Don't worry, I'll get the treaty maker now. Now the garden is filled with trees and sunshine. A person sitting on the keyboard talking. We're ready to launch the fleet. When the woman next to him, you heard that you discovered a new 6. This is the La Sun Provincial Empire. The one who plays this is the king. Interesting answer. Summon the boat team. This is a good thing. You can't let it be alone. The lady replied to His Majesty Laozen. At the same time in the Torala Empire, in a bunch of weapons of all kinds, Milan is reporting to King Black. We've got the right information. The Empire has a large fleet of ships. To a new 6. Your Majesty, what should we do? The strong man is checking the weapons. You have to ask, of course, to steal. The ambitious black monk said. On the vast Sahasha steppe, there's a god camp here. The kingdom of Sa Xing. The view looks peaceful with the blue sky. White clouds, yellow sun. Not too far away, there's a big grassy area. If you look closely, you'll see a group of people camouflaged under the grass. That's Princess Aya's army. After a moment of observation, the actions of those below, Princess Aya gave the order to kill. The whole army immediately removed its camouflage. Surprise attack on the enemy. The people in the Kier camp are still eating and drinking. Until I heard the attacker. Just startled shout out loud, is the assailant. They ran around and couldn't hold their swords. The executioner could not escape. Where did they come from to save their lives? Where does Princess Aura go? The soldiers were all dealt with there. Death doesn't last a word. On another battlefield, specifically where Bella's battle chaos is. A military principality Mulan, army of the Principality of Mana, and the army of the Principality of Kama from Ba to attack Bella barracks. The people in the camp rushed to the newspaper. Grand Duke Mulan. Mannequin Kama, these forces work together. They launched a joint attack. Many times more than we are. You guys are not going to take it. As opposed to the panic of his followers, Bella calmly wiped her sword. Face does not change color to say something urgently. We haven't used the wind-up weapon yet. It's just clever right now. Outside the joint, Bella's soldiers on the floor, standing on the fence high, raise the weapon that was invented. Prepare to shoot. The soldiers below the city. I see only a few people up there. Don't be afraid. There are only a few people like that, when they change the arrow through it. But just as the discussion was over, countless arrows were fired. People have been shot countless times since then. The soldiers below your face have become suspicious. What weapon is this? Only SAOs shoot so many arrows. They saw that it was not right and ordered them to run. Bella and Ian stood on the observatory. See, the Kier army has 7 players. They were threatened with secrecy and opened the door to kill me. The whole wide sky echoed the sound of killing. In the Kingdom Palace, standing in front of the palace, Russia is the man of the great teacher. Christians on behalf of God. He spoke aloud to the people of the kingdom below. To be Korean. They go against the religion of God. Not listening to advice. The evil people are superstitious. We have to change the gods and help them change them. Let them return to the embrace of God. People and soldiers below. Listen to people on the radio. They all raised their swords in unison. Back to my master. Back to my master. People on the radio continue to say, let's go, people. The owner's light will protect everyone. On the side of Chang'an, Master Neo Merchant, we are reporting the situation. Lack of time as you predicted. SA Kingdom officially launched. Put your hands behind your back. Say seriously, war is the best arena. It is time for the people of this time to see the true power of hot weapons. Then tell the entire army to follow the work plan. Master Niu Ban immediately obeyed the order. Under the clear blue sky, the sun shining brightly, Liu Feng's spaceship FLIs to the wilderness. That soldiers march out of the palace. The army below looked at the giant. Flying in the sky is not out of question. What is it? One of the people on the other side judged. I heard that the Kier Kingdom has a hot air fleet. Is it this one? The person next to him later denied it. It's not a balloon. I've seen balloons that aren't that big. The person who spoke earlier was curious. So what is a? From the spaceship above Kao Kier, a multitude of blue bags are dropped. The man below shouted as if something had fallen. Everybody out of the way. The big green covers fall straight to the ground. The soldiers rushed to escape. The commander sat on the horse and rode out. He saw that he was a little pleased with us. Just avoid it. Of course, he couldn't say a complete sentence. The wrap in the bag glowed and the mud exploded. The fire was strong enough for both men and horses, or even the ground is shot up a few meters. Not just one, but hundreds of envelopes simultaneously explode. One by one, fly up. The army is defeated. There are people who are lucky enough to play them. Some people looked at the explosion and shouted. It is the punishment that God has given. We shouldn't go out with Han. On the side of Lord Ra, after receiving this lightning strike, he couldn't believe it. What God punishes? Person underfoot in a kneeling position, confirm yes. That's right, a lot of writers say. It's the fire and the lightning from the gods. God sits on the throne of the palace of Ra. 2 hands rolled into fists, he asked Leo with a grim face. I asked the great Han to deny the protection of the gods. He locked up the Catholic messenger. Is it a superstitious act? Leo said yes. The cardinal continued to ask. So you eradicate superstition is wrong. Not wrong. The teacher's face is getting worse and worse. If you're not wrong, why does God punish us? Leo was stunned, and he stood up and said aloud. They're definitely evil heretics. The use of evil weapons. They want to break our love for God. The name of the great teacher, Kier, saw his manipulation plan succeed, then changed the face. He laughed back. That's right, the more we should trust God. Leo, when he was clear, ran to tell the news. I didn't forget to say before. Master, I'm going to tell everyone. Master, your face is full of danger. Remember that God will protect us forever. And Than's schoolroom. Sir Niu Ban reported to the police. The dynamite didn't threaten the night. They keep adding more soldiers. That's what I said in the prediction. Cardinal Kier's heart is burning. They want to use religion to control 6. You can't threaten to run away because of this. He looked out into the distance, he continued. I don't think that's threatening either. The real plan is to start now. Nicola invited Timo to come. In Tim's room. You're playing Go with Robin right now. He's playing the white flag and asking what the situation is. Robin on the other side answered. The Grand Master continued to send troops. Hear that? Queen Tim Modi couldn't control her anger. You bring your own grievances out. With the Han army. Save the wind completely. They can defeat the soldiers of the house. Right? Not now. What does he want? Robin heard you immediately. You can just quietly eat the cake. Can't say a word. A knock on the door and a glass of wine. My heart condition is really bad right now. She stared at the person who knocked on the door. Save a word. Nicola doesn't know you're upset. And still smiling to inform His Majesty Timothy. Master wants to see you. In the Emperor's palace. Queen Tim Modi with Robin. Go to the front of the table. Your Majesty, I heard you were looking for me. When he saw the two of them, he said, Maybe you've heard of it. Now, the family continues to leave the army, not until 7 days. 8 parts of the internal troops will focus on the Han dynasty. Tim Modi showed a suspicious face. You are looking for me. Du Feng replied. The time is right for you to go back to Brazil. Queen Timothy heard these words. I can't hide the joy. There's a bright smile on my face. However, Subin next door is somewhat incomprehensible. All of you have a big question mark to ask. Thank you for keeping your promise. It's just why we're here right now. It's very natural to explain. Base news transmitted from Yajin. The tax cut you gave me, after you leave, has been made a cardinal of the forest. It's hard to have hope. People won't blink to see it go away. They began to protest vehemently against strikes and demonstrations that the gods don't allow. Everyone loses control. The trick will be more intense. You must have left people. Silently, the wind blowing the fire inside. Tim Mo heard these words. She reached up and stroked her hair. There is no secret that you will not be able to hide anything. The wind continues to speak. Under the hyper-economic chaos that's damaged, people will be harder. I am even more discontented with the gods. There's a war now. And the news of the 7 failures. He was also punished by an angel. The church has lost credibility in this rumor. The fear of the people for them. Almost zero. We need a leader right now. Lead them to the palace. We'll be able to completely eradicate the malignant tumor. True religion changes. To win a new life. So I'll tell my people. Take her back to the palace quickly. At the same time, they give you money. So that you can quickly control the household. To become the true queen of the house. The Queen of Timor was delighted to hear that. She put her hands on her chest and bowed her head honestly. Thank you for your patronage. SA students will thank you. However, the opposite of you Robin was a little nervous and put his hand on his chin. If you see that expression, ask. Robin, what questions do you have? Robin is now expressing his thoughts. Sorry, I was thinking it was really easy SAO. The Holy Spirit is in the hands of God. As long as he gives the order, the knights will quickly return to the palace. We will stop violence against the people until then. Understand Robin's concerns. He tapped his finger on the table. A man pressed his cheek and asked the opposite. You want me to talk about this, don't you? Don't worry, Han, I don't want you to come. If you want to go, get an answer that fits your needs. Ruby doesn't care anymore. He laughed to express his appreciation for the wind. If so, Your Majesty and I can rest assured of this. Home we will not forget. Now it's Queen Timmoti's turn to wonder. But I've got a question for you. How does Your Majesty intend to deal with it? The scenery changed to the side of the great Han. Soldiers of the house. Each horse is moving forward. Around the sand, because of galloping horses that rise up in the darkness, one of the optimists. Not to start a war recently. Let's find a comfortable place. When I finished speaking, suddenly an arrow came. The soldier hurriedly won the reins. Forced to stop, screaming AI has no answer. In response, he only had countless arrows to shoot back. The soldier immediately pushed the horse back. When you see a group of people in front of you, the enemy is attacking quickly. Through binocular observation, the black hair is back, with the blonde in the back. Tell the general. Someone in the west wanted to leave. Next we continue the blockade. Make sure a fly doesn't escape. On the other side of Ellie's office, she asked for the supplies Queen Timothy needed to leave. Have you deployed? The informant said the bad news. Make Ellie stand up in disbelief. What happens unplanned? Why didn't you tell me right away? The man hurried to explain. After something happened there, tell the person to report immediately. But the information that pigeons transmit is limited. Where you can go is limited. Wait until we get the news. It was 3 days later. Ellie, after hearing this situation, couldn't he help but worry. Thinking like that is not possible. Materials are considered a small thing. But if the military, to report changes in the blink of an eye. If you need 3 days to move in. Thinking of this, Ellie turned around and ran away. You said I was looking for a young man. Chang'an, Palace of the Emperor. Queen Timmoti is continuing to talk about the issue. When she didn't understand, Ellie suddenly opened the door and burst in. It's related to intelligence. Ellie was about to say another word when she blinked. She and Queen Timmoti meet. Look at each other for a few seconds. Ellie moved back to the notice. Recently had to fight with the family. It's also about animals. With support for Bella and my sister. Born a lot of intelligence. It's like sending intelligence to slowly and missing work. I don't know if the young man has a solution. That's what Ellie said. Queen Timmo immediately followed up with me as well. Your Majesty's exile plan, negotiate with me. I feel so perfect. But when we make the plan, both sides need perfect timing. But how to communicate the intelligence in front of you? After hearing the two talk, laughing about something related to this. I'm going to tell people. The golden sun against the sky of the Han dynasty. It leads to a strange place. Queen Timmoti couldn't help but be curious. Save your Majesty. This place is. Send your hands to Theo. This is the part I just built. This slave can solve the problem of communication between us. Save the wind to call you Phi. When I saw you running, I called out to you. Happy face to see you ask. Are the clothes ready? Yu-Fi smiled brightly and replied, rest assured. It's installed. Hear that, save the wind. Tell the two people behind you. Ellie and Queen Timoti. Let's go and let everyone see the timeless product. On a simple wooden table, there's a strange black machine. The voice of Timothy. It's not that you're worried about how you'll interact by then. Why this machine? We can solve our communication problems. Queen Tim looked at the machine on the table. Turn to the wind again. I have a little disbelief in the truth. 100 words is not equal to 1. I want people to test it directly. I asked. You told Robin to go to the supermarket, didn't you? The Queen said yes. Then he handed her a piece of paper and told her. So now you write a sentence. It's best that the answer you get can be determined. The enemy is Robin. This girl will get the word to Robin in a minute. Queen Timo replied with great interest. It's a little interesting for me to see. Then she picked up the paper and started writing. After writing it, have fun giving it to the girl, assigned to transmit information. Here, girl, after receiving the paper, sit in the chair next to the Kia engine, wearing headphones, tapping the buttons on the machine. Somewhere in the zombie supermarket, while leisurely sipping lollipop, just watched the blue-haired young man at work. A sheet of paper from the same machine on the other side. Queen Timoti running up. The blue-haired man was talking about it. I hold the paper that was sent to Robin. I'm still biting the candy in my hand. Mr. Robin, this is the news His Majesty Timmo wrote to you. Robin picked up the paper and read what was inside. Your face is a little helpless but full of love. Your Majesty, you are. A little later, Timoti. A piece of paper is passed back through the machine. The girl came back and answered. Timmo heard that and rushed back to urge. Please write to me. The girl held up the paper in front of her. There are 2 lines on it.